Alright, so I wanted to learn more about making 3D models for games. And this little guy right here is Nyabootmon, brand new Digimon. The moment I saw the design I thought, yep, that's my next project. Then my brain said, well, if you're making him, might as well make him game ready. And here we are. My background is in animated short films. That's where my artistic journey began. I've always loved games and wanted to try working in the game industry. Back then, the game development pipeline was a mystery to me. After working on a few indie game projects, things started clicking. So, Nyabootmon was the perfect excuse to share what I've learned while also making something I actually like. And honestly, I love the process of taking 2D concept art and making it work in 3D. You know, when you see the cool character drawing and your brain instantly imagines how it would look and move. But the translation from 2D to 3D isn't easy. Sometimes the 3D version just doesn't have the same magic. My goal is to make it look and function exactly how I imagined when I first saw the art. Everything I'm sharing here comes from my own mistakes, testing and results, not a degree. When you're making a game asset, I always think about two things. Does it look right? Will it run well? Games run in real time, so you can't just throw in movie level details. You've got to optimize. And the asset should work in any game engine, which means there are technical limits. But those limits are what push you to find creative solutions. From what I've seen, game engines and 3D software usually agree on a few core basics. Meshes, data storage, basic rigging. My goal is basically to make a model that both the 3D software and the game engine will accept without complaining. Let's start from the modeling. For the Nyabootmon's body, I used my Fox character's body as a base. No point remaking good topology from scratch. Work smart, not hard, right? This time I only sculpted the clothes, boots and cape, etc. Having a sculpt first really helps, because you can test organic wrinkles. Without it, making the topology flow in a natural wrinkled way is way harder. The body itself was simple. The hardest part for me is always the hands and feet. But since I already had them done, I could focus on the face. I wanted it to feel more cat-like, but I couldn't get the appeal right for several days. In the design, his ears go through the head, and it has to look good from every angle. That ended up being a lot harder than I thought. The ears and the face mask both poked through the hat. I had to tweak all three, hat, ears, mask, together until they finally stopped clipping and actually looked good. Took way longer than expected. Next, gloves and boots. Gloves were easy. I duplicated the ones I made earlier. Quick tip: to make clothing, just duplicate the faces from the body mesh and scale them outwards with Alt+S. That scales each face along its own normal, like inflating a balloon or any other inflations. For the boots, I started with a blocky mock-up to check proportions before adding detail. Funny thing is, when I first saw Nyabootmon's reveal card, I thought he was wearing pants. But nope, it's actually one big creative boot design. That's why I love Digimon. They always throw in unexpected creative designs. The feather on the hat was a complicated shape, so I sculpted it first. Then retopologized it. I used DynTopo, which is dynamic topology. It's amazing because it generates new geometry where your brush hits. No more stretched faces or weird artifacts. But it comes with risks. Depending on the detailing mode, if you zoom out while working on small details and accidentally use your brush, those small details will just vanish. Happened to me more than once. But thankfully, Ctrl-Z exists. DynTopo can also leave you with uneven topology. Millions of polygons in one spot while the rest of the model has far fewer. That's why remeshing afterwards is a good idea. Once the feather was done, I went back to the face for more tweaks. The eyes especially. I usually give characters puppy eyes, but here I wanted sharper, more feline eyes. What worked was increasing the distance in the upper part of the eye shape. That one change made him finally look like a cat. For the cape, I used DynTopo again to sculpt the wrinkles. I love this cape design. It's like a scarf and a cape in one. I imagine it's wrapped around his neck and tied under the shoulder pads. Such a unique touch. Originally, I modeled the cape horizontally for better rigging and deformation. It's good if you're simulating cloth, but I remembered I'll be animating it by hand, so I bent it downwards. Might regret that when rigging, but we'll see. When retopologizing the boots, especially in wrinkled areas, I ran into tris versus quads debate. Most people will tell you quads are better for shading and deformation, which is true, but tris aren't evil. I would rather add a few tris to connect loops than completely redo topology just to force quads. A quad is literally 2 tris anyway. I use tris in sharp boot areas to hold shape and when connecting sculpted wrinkles to the rest of the boot. After that, I added small details for extra depth and silhouette. Didn't take long, but they help a lot. As a final touch, I tweaked eyes further on and finally put the end to it with this result. And that's the modeling done. Next up is optimization. Optimization is all about keeping the silhouette but lowering the poly count. Every polygon is more work for the game engine to process in real time. I didn't want Nyabootmon to be too low poly, so I aimed for around 30k polys to keep the details. The final count came out to 28,548 polygons. Since I modeled with subdivision surface modifier, I could remove unnecessary edge loops to bring the count down. But I don't just delete loops randomly. Areas that deform or define shape get extra care. I think of it like trimming a bonsai tree. Keep the overall form, cut anything that doesn't add to it. High focus areas like the face and boots keep more polygons. Hidden areas like hands, inside gloves or feet inside boots get deleted completely, unless the character needs outfit changes. Maybe game engines can hide unseen geometry automatically, but I prefer to do it myself. Once the mesh is optimized, it's time to unwrap it for textures. UV unwrapping is like peeling an orange, so you can paint it flat. The goal is minimal stretching and efficient space usage. For Nyabootmon, I placed seams in less visible areas, under the arms, inside boots and along the back of the hat. I packed the UV islands tightly to get the best resolution without wasting space. You see that I have some objects only on one side. That's because they're mirrored. I temporarily removed the mirrored side so I know exactly what's mirrored and what's unique. Normally I would use the Magic UV add-on to auto-pack, but it refused to work this time. So I packed everything manually. It took longer, but I had more control. I grouped related parts together. All boot UVs in one spot, hat parts in another, which made texture painting much easier. Finally, texture time. You can use all kinds of maps, roughness, emission, ambient occlusion, but I choose to limit myself with basic hand-painted texture for this one. They are artistic, they have personality, and they only require one texture file. When hand-painting shadows and highlights, I don't just make shadows black or gray. I lower the value and shift the hue so the color looks richer. Same for the highlights. Raise the value, shift the hue slightly, then blend it in. Blurry shadows highlights give a matte look. Sharp ones make it look glossy or metallic. I started with a smart material I made following this YouTube video. Then painted shadows, highlights and base color directly on the model. Even without advanced lighting, the baked-in details make it pop. I kept everything on a 4K texture map. It can be downscaled to 2K or even 1K if needed. Oh, and I also added outlines between different colored areas to test out that Digimon's classic visual. Not sure about it for now, I'll have to test it out. And there he is, Nyabootmon in Blender. All parts connected, ready for the next step. Rigging is one of my struggles, so I took a short break and made this video as a procrastination. Maybe I'll try to make him VRChat compatible just for fun, who knows. If you're still watching, you're awesome. Like, subscribe, and if you want to help me keep making stuff like this, check out my Patreon. My Patreons are the reason I can make projects I love and share them with you. Alright, that's it for this one. I'll get to the rigging part right away and share the result with you later on. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.